What's up, YouTube? Sergio Becerra the second here again. My YouTube channel, Frankenstein at 1. And today I'm going to be bringing you another book review. This time it's a history book review. And of course, if you've noticed in my last couple of videos involving one of my favorite horror novels of all time, that would be Frankenstein, of course. This time I'm going to be doing another book review of this miniseries on a history book that I have read involving Frankenstein. It's called The Monsters, Mary Shelley and the Curse of Frankenstein by Dorothy and Thomas Hubler. So it gives us the full explanation of the beginning of with the birth, starting with the birth of well, actually, it starts off with Mary Shelley's parents, Mary Wollstone, Mary Wollstonecraft, and of course Mary's father, the philosopher William Goodwin. Starting off how well, they were activists, and of course a couple of radicals, of course, uh, fighting for the rights of women. And of course, Mary Wollstonecraft is the author of what is it? I'm trying to remember. Let me find it. Well, she was the author of what was the name of that book? It was a philosophy book. Vindication. Let me look. I'm sorry. I'm trying to look for it. Vindication. Vindication. Vindication of the rights of women. So, yeah, vindication of the rights of women, which Mary Wollstonecraft is fighting for all women's rights, just like here in the women, like here in the United States, like the right to vote and be who they are and be as equal as men are. So, basically, Mary Wollstonecraft is actually the founder of feminism, to be exact, is which I've studied upon myself. And then later on, they have a child, which they name also Mary, but um, Mary's mother dies soon after. I mean, it's not just Mary Shelley that they do talk about. I mean, all the other people that Mary knew exactly, such as Percy Shelley, of course. His background, how he came from a wealthy family, how he had connections with Oxford University, and of course Percy's expulsion from Oxford because of his essay defending atheism. I'm a man of faith myself, so I'm not even a fan of Percy myself. And I know Percy was also a well-known poet. And of course, he's also a radical, um, like Mary's parents, such as marriage, the church, uh, advocating for women's rights, and of course, another well-known poet that Percy knows, that would be Lord Byron, and of course Byron's physician, Dr. Polidori. And of course, another interesting thing. I'm glad this was a good thing. This was even mentioned in the book. The story of they do mention the real Castle Frankenstein in Darmstadt, Germany, and the history of Johann Konrad Dippel, who was considered the real Dr. Frankenstein, and how he experimented on corpses, which it's later explained in the book because Mary, Percy, and Mary's older stepsister Claire, they traveled through parts of Europe, including through Germany as well, which it is said they did come across Castle Frankenstein. We don't know if they actually visited the castle or as it's explained in Mary's journal, seen it from far away by looking at its towers. So it covers everything when they later arrive in Geneva at the Villa Viadate, where Byron challenges everybody to write a ghost story, in which, of course, we all know how Mary came up with the idea for Frankenstein with this awakening dream, like this vision she sees while awake. A student of the Hull Arts leaning beside the thing that he created, which of course would be the monster, of course, which she explains. And then, of course, things start to fall apart because she later gets pregnant. This is before they take off for Geneva, but yeah, before Geneva. And of course, Mary's father's upset that Mary is with Percy, and that actually thing was before they even took off together for Europe. Both Mary and Percy had carnal knowledge with each other. When Mary was only 16. Um, I, I know Percy was a little older than Mary. They committed carnal knowledge with each other on Mary's mother's grave. As soon as they arrive back from Europe, of course, Mary gets pregnant. Her father's not happy about it. Their relationship um, is torn apart. They don't speak to each other for a very long time. And the thing was, we all know Percy is actually married and he had children of his own, but both Mary and Percy wanted each other, so they couldn't marry until later on when disaster strikes for Percy when his own wife drowns in a river. So it now paves way for both Mary and Percy to finally marry, and they start having a couple more children. Um, Mary loses a couple of her kids. Her son was also named William, just like Victor Frankenstein's youngest brother, William Frankenstein. Apparently, Mary and Percy were in Italy at the time. I think I know Mary's daughter died first. I forget what. And then William later dies, and they both. I know that I don't remember if it was either Mary's daughter or son that they buried on the beaches of Italy. And then later on, Percy and a friend take off on a new boat that Percy had bought. All of a sudden, a high tide and a storm just washes them away, and their bodies are later found. But Percy's body was later burned on the beach as a precaution against the plague, because there is a picture where Percy's remains are being burned, and Mary is right there and doesn't even want to even look at the cremation, and the only thing that survives is Percy's actual heart that survives the fire after cremation, and she holds on to the remainder of her days. The only child that Percy and Mary had before Percy's death was another son who they named also Percy Florence Shelley. So after Percy's death, Mary is only a single mother who now has to raise her only child until he's finally an adult and later marries. So Mary later fixes her relationship with her father again. Everything starts to go back to normal. As Mary got into her 50s, Percy Florence Shelley is now an adult, and I forget what career I forget what career goal that Percy Florence had. But then Mary Shelley dies of a brain tumor, at age 53. So Percy Florence Shelley and his wife actually decide to move um, the graves of both of her parents and put them together so they can finally rest together in peace. It's a 500. I think it's a. How many pages is this? This is like over 300 pages long. I mean, it explains from the beginning of each other's life, from starting with Mary's parents, Mary herself, then Percy Shelley, Lord Byron, and Dr. Paul Dory, and then of course what everything we learned from when she wrote Frankenstein, of course. So you can actually find this online on Amazon if you want. If you want to buy a copy of this book, which I know you can still find, I'll leave the link from Amazon in the description for you. So tell me what you think of this book review. Comment below, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell below. My Instagram is SurgeonBasera2 at SurgeonBasera2. Email me at SurgeonBasera26 at yahoo.com. All right, this wraps it up. Take care now. Bye.